into remote international markets and to supply piped gas to regional markets. In implementing those plans, Qatar has been benefiting from its strategic geographic location and the relatively low cost of producing gas from its territories. Qatar Petroleum.
If you're a Nokia user, you can download AlJazeera's news widget from Nokia's Ovies store. The news widget, available on compatible Nokia devices, gives users quick and easy access to real-time news updates from AlJazeera English. See the world in real time. AlJazeera Mobile.
This is Al Jazeera.
Welcome to NewsHour. I'm Lauren Taylor from Al Jazeera's news centre here in Doha, and our reporters in Libya, Tunisia, Yemen and Washington DC. These are the main stories. Reports that Gaddafi is trying to block food supplies to the rebel-held town of AlJazeera, while residents in nearby Nalut fear that pro-Gaddafi forces are preparing to attack their town. Yemen's president blames the protests against him on the US and Israel. And counting India's homeless, just 2 nights to find out how many people are living on the street. Hello, Libya's leader Muammar Gaddafi is under mounting pressure from the international community and his own people, but he shows no sign of buckling. Large swathes of the country are now in opposition hands, but there are fears that over Gaddafi's next move. In the town of Nalut, pro-Gaddafi forces appear to be preparing for an attack. And in AlJazeera, there are reports that food supplies are being blocked. More on both those cities in a moment, but first this report from Lawrence Lee.
Gaddafi routinely accuses the media of bias, but the most dispassionate analysis must suggest things really aren't going very well for him. This is the town of Nalut in western Libya, and here they want him gone. They're impatient too, because basic supplies are running out.
I've been waiting for 20 minutes and still there's no fuel. I just need it for my home, nothing more.
Reports from Zawiya, also in the west, reflect an increasingly desperate situation for Gaddafi. His army reportedly attempted to charge the town from 2 sides overnight, but suffered losses and withdrew, though not before several soldiers apparently surrendered, changing sides. The ineffectual nature of Gaddafi's military options appears to have prompted another classic siege tactic against towns like Nalut and Zawiya, blocking basic supplies to starve the town.
Yes, some sort of vegetables and things. Some people, they came to bring and they prevent them.
Evidence from the other side of the country too reinforces the suggestion that Gaddafi is not capable of much of a fight. This is AlJazeera in eastern Libya, where the army abandoned a massive ammunitions dump and left it in the hands of the opposition. Attempts by Gaddafi's air force to blow it up didn't amount to much past a hole in the ground before they were repelled.
Whether it is the European Union or the Arabs or America or even Russia, we ask them to just shut down this man's airspace. We are capable of taking him out by ourselves, but we are only requesting the international community to enforce a no-fly zone.
The city of Misrata too is holding out against pro-Gaddafi forces. This video clip apparently showing a successful strike against an army helicopter. With so many places now raising the flag of opposition, what of tribal allegiances? The most likely to stay loyal are people from his hometown Sirte and his tribe, the Gaddafi. They stretch down the entire middle of Libya to its southern border, but they're a small tribe and potentially disloyal in places.
They're surrounded by many other tribes. Many of these other bigger tribes have broke ranks in terms of their alliance or allegiance with this regime. The Gaddafi, being small and being surrounded by them, will have to take into account the consequences of Gaddafi's fall, the post-Gaddafi era. And at that point, you are likely to see defections from within this tribe.
So even if the insurgency is emboldened, it's acting carefully. They now have very large numbers of tanks heavy weapons and ammunition at their disposal, as well as people queuing in line to join a new army. At the moment, though, they say they want to reinforce their towns before moving on the capital.
We have a force that can protect Benghazi. The force may use heavy trucks to transport tanks to go to Tripoli and pass through Sirte on the way because it still supports the regime. The power we have is enough. The ammunition, supplies and fuel are also enough. We don't have a problem.
When that attack might be is perhaps the most important question. Gaddafi's latest interview with Western media added nothing to the sum of knowledge, and anyway his assertion that all of Libya loves him is in direct conflict with all the attacks mounted on rebel towns. If he won't step down or leave the country, his fates must surely rest in the hands of those closest to him or those on the other side of the country. Lawrence Lee, Al Jazeera.
Well, earlier we spoke to a resident of Nalut who we're calling Adel rather than give his real name. He described the situation there.
Last night, before sunset, about 25 armed cars tried to enter into the vicinity of the town, Nalut, and controlled one of the entrances. We had to pull back. Where we were standing, we were taking guards of the entrance of the town and helping journalists and other medical aid as well as food aid and supplies into the city. And we heard the news that the tanks and other armed vehicles, that was not true at the time. It was not a very large size force.
Well, Tony Bertley joins us live from Benghazi in eastern Libya. So, Tony, bring us up to date with the picture there. And is there any sense that people do want to get involved in some kind of push towards the west?
It really, Lauren, it depends on who you're talking to, because when we first arrived here 3 days ago, people were saying, yes, we're mobilizing, we're going to march on Tripoli, we're going to relieve the rest of the country. But if you look at it, basically, this was something that was being spoken of in the euphoria of the moment, but I think really practicalities are taking over now. They need to get a sizable force together. They need to get trained men. They need to get men who are going to go up against the elite of Gaddafi's forces, who are very well armed, very well trained. So it's not a straightforward matter. I think basically behind the scenes, they're hoping for a peaceful resolution. They're hoping that Gaddafi finally sees sense and he'll go away, because militarily it could be ugly and it could be very bloody.
What about the state of supplies? Because obviously we've heard about some other towns, the possibility of food running low. What's the situation where you are?
Benghazi's not too bad because it's closer to the Egyptian border, so supplies are coming through here, albeit scant supplies, I have to say that. But further west, as you get closer to the area of Gaddafi's control, then you'll find fewer supplies. And we were in AlJazeera on Monday, and they were telling us that they were starting to suffer a little bit. Lack of food, lack of medicine, for example, for the hospital. So they're starting to feel the pinch now. It needs some kind of mobilization of aid to get through to these places. It is quite safe a little bit further on, probably 250 kilometers further west from here. After that, who knows what kind of situation they're in, but at the moment things are starting to get worse, not better.
And Tony, are people